Yeah, we're at 11, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's good. I didn't think that we'd get here.
Double hockey stick, double Excalibur and Excalibress. That's our episode number today. So here we are, episode 11. We've made it over the 10 episode hump. It's been amazing ride so far. Just thrilling. So, Jonathan, I discovered something recently. I know you like to know about my discoveries. I know how interested you are in the everyday aspects of my life.
I am. What did you discover, man?
Carolina's riveted also. I can see it in her eyes. Yeah, and Amber's indifferent as usual. She doesn't care what I'm about to say.
It's funny because Amber actually shows more emotion than all of us on these podcasts.
Yet she cares the least, which is what's amazing about it. So because of the COVID, I had a toilet paper situation here at the home. There was a shortage in my town, and I deferred to the wipes. Now, I don't know if you guys have experienced the wipes. Everybody here has children except for me, so you're very familiar with the wipes. I'm unfamiliar.
We're too familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, too familiar. Yeah, you've got a bear that poops in the woods, and we still don't know if it makes a sound. Right. In any case, so I've experienced the wipes recently, which they're refreshing, just refreshing. It was a happy accident for me because the toilet paper, I realize it doesn't really make sense, but the wipes, they're so, it feels like it's like the York peppermint patty commercial. You bite into a York peppermint patty, you get the sensation of shushing down the Alps. That's what the wipe was for me.
I can never put my finger on what that felt like, but now
it's like the sensation of shushing down the Alps.
Shushing down the Alps.
Shush.
I feel like shush is a really annoying sound to hear by people listening to podcasts.
Now when you're shushing down the Alps. Anyway, and I've only experienced a bidet. Now, you guys are all international people. I'm a world traveler, but I've never experienced a bidet. I've only experienced it once, actually. And I was in Canada. Now, are you guys familiar with the bidet?
I have one.
You have? Okay.
We have one.
So
every morning.
Slumber party at John's house. So I'm sold. Because the one time I did the bidet, it was like Aladdin. It was a whole new world, a new exciting, just took me over the edge.
No one to tell us where to go.
That's right. Now I'm in a whole new world with Jonathan. So if you're out there listening in podcast land, we hit 3 listeners, by the way, last week. I don't know if you guys got
the data. We had I'll read the review. I have it up here.
Do you?
It's me. This is from AV on YouTube.
Okay.
It's me, the 3rd listener. Just saying. So that you guys wouldn't be called out for lying about your numbers. Well, AV, I got news for you, my friend. We are getting to be a very big deal on the internet.
Big deal.
A very big deal. And we humbly admit that we have far surpassed 2 listeners.
To 3? It's amazing.
It's a whole new record.
Is that a 66% increase? I don't do math. But if you're out there, I highly suggest the wipes, the flushable wipes. Do them. It'll change your life. I'm talking to you, America.
No, wait. This is the moment where I have to tell you guys, never. This is a COVID experience. Never store your wipes next to your Clorox wipes.
Well,
that happened. That happened, and Ren is dying laughing. That happened to me, and I almost died, and it was horrid. So please, caution. Do not ever store your Clorox wipes beside the regular wipes.
Oh, no.
That's something that you shouldn't have to learn about on a podcast, I feel.
PT Distinction is the premier coaching software for educated trainers to build a successful online personal training business. Go over to onlinetrainer.com/PTD. We've got a discount for you there. You get 60 days at no additional cost. PT Distinction. They believe in a good segue. They believe in good coaching, and we all believe in you. Carol, thank you for that riveting commentary from in the field. Jonathan, please save us from ourselves and start the show.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Goodman, and welcome to the Online Trainer Show. Hoy es el episodio 11. And today we're going over all of the different online training models. And for those of you who don't speak Spanish, like Carolina, it's episode 11.
This is the Online Trainer Show, Trainer Show, Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast. Did you totally do that for Catalina's mom? Because she made a request.
Oh
episode
my God,
1.
to have it.
Didn't
yes.
she? What did your mom say after episode 1?
Upset.
Yeah.
Like, you should do an episode.
Upset.
You should do an episode in Spanish. And I'm like, Mom, stop interfering with my work.
But you know what? It's endearing that your mom commented, and I feel like it's par for the course. I feel like anytime that you do something new, I feel like you need a mom to comment. I posted this on my Facebook the other day. My first ever blog was called Champion Lifestyle. I think we've spoken about this.
We have.
The championlifestyle.blogspot.com. And my first ever comment was in 2008. And not only was it my mom, but she didn't pretend that it was anybody else. You know, because you can write in any name you want when you comment, right? She wrote mom. And told me I was doing a good job. That was the only comment I got for the 3 years that I wrote that blog.
Wow. And that is a lesson on its own. If you think you're grinding and just speaking into the void, there you have it. Jonathan spoke into the void for 3 years with nobody but his mom to listen. So guys, stick it out.
I thought Champion Lifestyle was a great brand. I thought it really would have resonated.
Isn't that the t-shirt people? The underwear and t-shirt Champion? Oh, they don't have lifestyle. It's just Champion.
I hope not, because I don't want to infringe on anything. I don't want to get a letter one day. That website's still live.
I don't think you're in any danger of Champion the company seeing that blog, John.
Or anyone.
Or anyone. I think you sort of peaked at mom. Like, and it's not going.
You know what? You know what's crazy? Like, you laugh, but there's actually a lot of that kind of stuff that's gone on. So you know, Entrepreneur Magazine. You can Google this. They actually, somebody in the trademark office somewhere allowed them to trademark the word entrepreneur.
Really?
And so they have the trademark for the word entrepreneur. And anybody who's like an expert, like Tony Delgado, make up a name. I don't know why I just made up that name, but Tony Delgado, entrepreneur coach. Right. Whatever it is, like anybody who sells information and calls themselves anything to do with an entrepreneur and uses that word, a lot of them have actually got cases like brought against them, cease and desist, punishment, like fines, that type of thing from Entrepreneur Magazine. How
that's
in the
like
world?
A dick move, no? Like,
well,
really?
I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, you got to protect your marks. You've got to protect your. You've got to protect your marks. You've got to protect your name. And in that world, particularly, there's a lot of people who maybe don't do such good work, that use those titles. But how did anybody in the United States Trademark Office allow Entrepreneur Magazine to trademark the word entrepreneur?
That's amazing.
How? Who got that through? And where are these lawyers and where can I hire them? I want to trademark online training.
Right.
Like, as I own the domain,
As one of 2 Americans here associated with the podcast, I can pretty much guarantee you that the person in the office had no idea what the word meant. I feel confident. It's just like, oh, some French fancy word.
Entrepreneur.
Give it to him. Give it to him. Like that, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Well, I don't think the trademark office is in the South, but it's funnier with the Southern accent.
How do you say give it to him?
Give it to him.
Give it to him.
Yeah, that's how
give it to him, goddamn entrepreneur.
Yeah. This boy's claiming me the entrepreneur. Give it to him. I've done too much now. So our in-field correspondent, we always like to check in with the talented Carolina Belmars. Carolina, anything new on the Jedi front? Anything going on in general? She's like, it's all vermin and Jedi. And
That's my world, essentially.
Yeah.
No, so lately, whenever I need like a quick, like a pick me up, like the world is weighing down on you, and you just need to feel better.
Right.
The best thing ever is an episode of Queer Eye. They are magical. Yes, I love them. They are fantastic. And I cry because I get so excited for all the things that they do for their makeovers. And this is real, actually, for everybody listening. Their show is an amazing example of what coaching can look like. Compassionate coaching, the way that they talk to the people that they're working with, the way that they
What do they do? I don't know what the show is. I've heard the name.
You need to watch it, sir. If you ever want to make it in online coaching, you need to watch the show, sir.
Clearly, that's what I've been missing. Yeah, clearly you struggle so far through this whole online charade. If you will. So Carol, I need you to qualify this. So are we talking the original Fab Five, or are we talking the new Fab Five?
The new Fab Five.
Okay. I'm not familiar with the new one.
Oh my gosh, they're amazing. It's on Netflix. I love them. Love them. They're wonderful.
I love the original.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes, they were fantastic too. And this one is even better because it was like I said, I feel like it has even more quality coaching, like a component of coaching.
Evolved.
Yes, it's evolved. It's a lot better.
Not unlike the Online Trainer Academy has evolved.
Exactly.
The Online Trainer Academy that teaches you how to train online, successfully, profitably, skillfully. That Online Trainer Academy.
That's right.
So are we like the Fab Four? Of
course.
Amber was shocked. Amber's shoulders went to her ears when I said that. She's
like, oh no, please.
Also shocked and sort of elated that we have a label now. So we are the Fab Four of online coaching. We just Jonathan, you got to watch the show now because we got to give you a name associated with the show, and you're not going to know what it is if you don't watch the name. I feel like I'm from the original. I feel like I'm the cook, the guy that did the cooking. What was it, Tim? I think that was his name.
I don't remember their names.
Not to be confused with Tim from PT Distinction.
But you know what? To an extent, that's what we do. Is that we teach people how to make over their online training businesses. So there we go. We're definitely
we're stretching this a bit too far. Yeah. Amber just held up a sign that said "wrap it up." I think.
Yeah. We're done.
Enough. She didn't even make a sign anymore. She just used her fingers. She didn't even. We've fallen below the sign now. We don't even get a sign anymore. It's just
don't deserve one anymore.
Finger tornado. So we've got a topic today.
Finger tornado.
I'm here. The finger tornado. I'm not even going to try to say this topic because I know John will want to say it better. But it's about choosing a business. Jonathan, I'm hands off here. I'll jump in when it's time to answer.
What I want to talk about today is I want to talk about all the different types of business models that exist within online training. And Len's basically going to just feed me the different models. We're going to talk about them. We're going to describe the different models that exist, the pros and cons, who they're right for, where they might fit in. Because you hear a lot about each one, but in and of themselves, the information I think isn't really that valuable. I think what's really important is that you're able to put it all together and kind of figure out which model is right for you at this point and where that might lead. It doesn't mean that any model is necessarily better or worse than any other model. What matters is that you choose the right model for you at this time based off of your skill set, based off of what you want to achieve. So I really wanted to spend some time going over each model today, and when we can just go one by one if you want to just kind of
let's do one by one. So one of my favorite movies was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. I don't know if we had any Trekkies out there, but it starred Ricardo Montalban, who was also in Fantasy Island, who I referenced in an earlier episode.
Yeah.
But in that,
I knew that name from somewhere.
Yeah, this is important. Like the podcasters, like, what is he talking about? But in any case, in that movie, a young Spock, a Leonard Nimoy, he did this fight. He said, "The needs of the one do not outweigh the needs of the many." And that was one of the core tenets of that movie. Go back and watch it. It's on VHS. But let's talk about one to a few, Jonathan. Like what you're the coach and you're online coaching, a few people, not many, but just a few. Like take us through that model, Mr. Spock. Engage.
One to a few is really what most people think when they start online training. Call it one-to-one. Mm-hmm. it's a start. It's where most people start, and it's where we recommend most people start. The general idea is you work with a client the same as you would kind of work with a client in a gym. They sign up for a month, month by month by month. Mm-hmm. And you take care of them by giving them workouts. You have some sort of support system with them. Might be office hours that we describe in the Online Trainer Academy quite a bit. Might be Skype support, might be Facebook group support, might be phone calls, emails, whatever. And you help them make changes the way that you would in a gym. Now, I say that it's the start for most people because it's definitely not perfect, but for many, it's good enough to start. You are still really, not to the same extent, but you are still trading your time for money, which is ultimately kind of what you want to get away from. You want to start scaling and leveraging your time quite a bit with online training eventually, but that's a process. Right? It's a step-by-step process. And what the one-to-a-few model when you go online allows you to do is it allows you to not necessarily stop trading your time for money, but allows you to take back control of your schedule and work when it works for you. Mm. And that's the major determinant, right? So instead of saying, okay, I've only got whatever 2 6 to 8 p.m. spots, you can write somebody's workout Sunday night at 10 p.m. if that's when you want to write their workout. We have, Alex Harriman, who's an OTA2 student, and he did like 7,000 last month or something in May. He, in like New Billings, wow. He's a fireman. He's a full-time fireman. He does this part-time in between his fire shifts, doesn't have an internet presence, anything like that. So it allows you to do stuff on your own schedule, which is really, really great. And the other really cool thing about it is that it's probably not that much different from what you're doing now. Mm-hmm. Which means that the step then to step into it is much smaller. I'm a big fan of saying, okay, where do I want to go ultimately? And probably one-to-one or one-to-a-few online training is not where you ultimately want to be. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to do a single leg Bosu ball squat before you know how to sit down on a chair.
Right.
And so figure out where you ultimately want to be. Okay, let's work backwards and figure out what the steps are to get there. And the first step is to say, okay, how much money do I need to make, right? With online training in order to break free of what I'm doing in the gym, in order to make the transition, either full-time online or just to have some online training. Okay, what is the easiest, quickest way with the highest yield that I can begin the process of making that money on my own schedule? Mm-hmm. You don't need to learn a lot of new stuff. You don't need to use any technology. You don't need to use software. Sorry, Tim from PT Distinction. You don't need to use any software. Thank you for your sponsor and your wire of your money. You can't get it back. And you can use Google Drive. You can use Microsoft Excel. You can use email, right? Skype. You don't need to spend any money. And you already have the skills to do it, right? If you're already programming for clients at all, you already have everything you need to do it. Mm-hmm. That's why I like it, because what it does is it frees up space for you. And once you have that freed up space, and once you've worked with some people one-on-one, you have the time, you have the energy, you've got a little bit of extra money in your pocket, and you have the context of having already worked with some people online to be able to decide then which model you ultimately want to move towards, which we're going to be speaking about. So a lot of people poo-poo on the one-to-one model. Mm-hmm. There's your drinking game for you. A lot of people talk down the one-to-a-few model. With us, we actually talk it up. It's what we teach in level 1 of the Online Trainer Academy. Mm-hmm. And it's what we teach because what we do in the Online Trainer Academy is we help you take that next step in your career. And that's because once you are able to take that next step, and we help you do that the easiest, quickest way possible, right? And the most seamless way possible and the cheapest way possible. With the highest rate of success. Some of the other models, there really isn't that much that can go wrong with it. Like it will be harder to maintain because you will find that you can't scale it the same kind of way. So it'll be harder to maintain, but there's a lot fewer things that can go wrong with it. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong with the other models, which are not necessarily bad, but the things that you have to keep in mind as you're taking them on. There's either a lot of risk or you need to be too good at other, like we talked about membership sites the other day. I think we'll talk about it again, but like low-end membership sites, you need to be so good at marketing. You need to be so good at client acquisition. You need to know your numbers inside and out. That for most people, it's not a good option simply because those skill sets are so time intensive and expensive to acquire that it's just simply not right for most of the people. So anyway, so this idea of one-on-one, it's exactly how it sounds. You are sending programs to people. You are holding them accountable. You have some sort of support system with them. There's a whole bunch of different options from office hours, which we love personally, to email support, to phone calls, to Facebook group support. And you're helping people get better every single day with the program. And where it fits in is it is the first step. It's probably where you start and most likely not where you end up.
So that's one to a few, 1 to 1.
One to a few. We call it 1 to a few because it's generally as many. We found that it's very, very difficult for good trainers who offer good service to work with more than 30 to 35 people at once. There are some exceptions. What's interesting is that basically the only exceptions that I know about of trainers that are able to do it successfully over any kind of a long period of time are people who are pretty far along the autism spectrum. Basically, like their difference in brain chemistry allows them to focus on so many moving parts and just nail in on that. Regular people like there's no way that I could do it. And so once you start approaching that 20 to 30 clients, then you start looking at other models or hiring other people to work for you or what have you. But yeah, it's where you start.
So one follow-up question, if I could, Jonathan, where do you think 1-to-1 cuts off? Do you think it's at 20, 30, 25? Well, different for everybody?
I think it is different for everybody. I mean, you talk about people who use this as like a side hustle versus people who do it full time. If you're doing it full time, I think 30 to 35 is probably where it's going to cut off for most people. I think once people get around 30 clients, like they're pretty busy. If they're doing one-on-one without like super strong systems, which no matter how good you are, you won't have super strong systems. Even if you learn from us at the Online Trainer Academy, we'll tell you all the systems, but you got to work with people to really figure out how to put it together. And then we work with you how to put that in context.
That makes sense.
You can't just like pick up and move because your situation is unique, right? And so, and then the final thing, I guess, is price, which everybody is always asking about. Generally, 1-to-1, 1 to a few is anywhere from $100 to $300 a month. Mid-range, most trainers, when they start around $150. If you're in a higher income area and you're used to charging more, like you live in New York City or something like that, you might be $250. And then if you decide you want to go to more high ticket stuff, then you start pushing that off. But that comes later.
That makes sense.
So if you think about it, right, like 100, if you're charging, let's say 200 a month and you've got 30 clients, that's 6,000 a month. And so, that's not bad. That's 72,000 a year.
That makes sense. So I'm going to shift over to the in the field correspondent just really quickly. I know we don't have much time. It's ironic. We never have much time when it's time for Keto to talk.
I've noticed.
Let's keep that theme consistent. So Keto, we don't have much time, but quickly, in a matter of like maybe 16 seconds, can you summarize everything you just? I'm kidding. I'm just serious. Give us some. What do you think you cap out, Keto? Like when you were doing 1-to-1, because we both went through OTA 1, what do you think you started really getting, I can't do more than this amount of people?
Yeah, I think for me, it was between 20 and 25. So it was lower than what Jonathan explained, like for me personally, because I get overwhelmed. I feel like I'm not as good at keeping up. Right. So it starts getting like too much juggling and trying to remember, keeping track of every conversation so that I don't get details mixed up from one client to the other one and all that, right? Yeah.
And I think to note too, Carolina, is that you weren't purely online.
Right. No,
you were
I
doing some
also
group
had,
training and stuff, yeah.
yes, I also had in-person clients. I was still teaching Latin dancing, everything. So there was more going on for sure.
And obviously we all teach Latin dancing on the show. It's one of the barriers
Of
to
course.
entry to get onto this podcast.
I mean, you all heard my Spanish.
Right.
I mean,
I didn't
We're all on
use
the
Google
same page.
Translate at all.
Yeah.
I swear I didn't use Google Translate for that.
You guys can't see this out in podcast land, but let me just tell you, between the four of us, our hips don't lie, okay? So, Jonathan, there's another movie in the 80s, because all my references come from the 1980s, called Gremlins. You know, you got some water on that thing and boop, you had like 3,500 gremlins. So let's talk about the one to many, you know, sort of way of getting this done. Like what's the difference there? What do we gain going one to many? Mm-hmm. And conversely, that was a great word. Conversely,
it's good.
That was a Jonathan Goodman word. Conversely, what do we lose when we go one to many?
One to many. We spoke about this actually in a previous episode, which if somebody really wants to go super in deep, we talked about the membership model. So I'll just cover it briefly here just because it fits under this context. But most people, when they think about the one to many, they think about basically a low end membership.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's going to be really easy to sell $20 or $30 a month because there's no barrier to entry there. Mm-hmm. And if I can just get, no problem. Yeah, I'll get 100 people to sign up, at $20 a month. And then, a year later, I've got 100 times 20 times 12. That's kind of the math that goes on, right?
Right.
And the reality of the model is, number one, acquiring a customer most customers, like the reason that they're not buying is actually not price. Mm-hmm. If you're high ticket, maybe, but if you're $100 or $200 a month, it's often a combination of price and time and motivation. Simply, you haven't made it important enough for them to do it at that point. And this is why we go so deep into selling and into conversion, right? How strong is their pain right now? And are they in a position in their life right now where they can spend the time to do it? It's the reason why somebody isn't buying fitness is probably not a difference between $20 and $100. And so going down to 20, what we found is that customer acquisition actually isn't that much different. It will take about as much work and time and effort and money to acquire a $20 customer as it will to acquire a $100 or $200 a month customer. Everybody who joins a membership program additionally joins a membership program with the stated goal that they are planning to quit after the first month. Meaning that if you do a really good job with your membership program, you might keep them for 3 to 4. I would say 4 on the high end. And that's if you are really, 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 really good at onboarding and retention within your membership program. And so now your lifetime value for that customer is not 20 times 12, right? It's not $240. Your lifetime value is actually $80. And you need such higher numbers to make any reasonable amount of money because you're making so much less per person, which means you're going to go beyond your initial network very quickly, which means you need to go into cold traffic very quickly in order to scale. When you go into cold traffic, depending on which niche you're in and what you're serving, you're going to spend right now $120 to $150 to acquire a customer. If you're good, you're going to spend $100. And that means that you understand the ins and outs of paid advertising. You are a really good copywriter, a really good marketer. You're constantly testing. Like we refresh our ad creative and our copy every single week based off of the data. We've got a team of 4 people who adjust it.
A team of 4.
And that's everything from the numbers to copywriters to strategists to creative director, right? Who then the creative director sometimes even needs to bring in other people to help design the ads. That's so my point is you're probably going to be on the negative. You're not going to be on the positive. In addition, what most people who have been in business for any period of time have found, the customers who pay you the least give you the most headaches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They expect the most and they give you the most headaches, which means you're going to be making less money from them. They're going to give you more stress. They're going to demand more. And you're going to start to hold them in contempt, which is a really bad place to be. You should love your customers. You should respect your customers. You should want to speak to your customers and take care of your customers. You shouldn't hold them in contempt. And so this 1 to a few model, when you really break down the numbers, rarely makes sense. The only time that it really makes sense is if you have a massive organic platform that continues to generate extremely large amounts of ongoing organic leads.
Sheesh.
And you want to basically automate what you're doing. If you already have, if you're in a position where you're doing like the 1-to-1 or the high ticket, and you say, or the 1 to a few in the high ticket model, and you basically say, oh, this is a way to capture another segment, right, at the lower point, what I would debate that with you and build another income stream and build an automated passive income stream. You know, passive, maybe if you're not creating the content, right? If you can outsource that, then now you're building a business with like multiple people running your membership site for you, which is totally fine. You can do it, and you can do it and keep the quality good. But I would challenge you on that, because if you're at the point where you have too many people who want training at, let's say, $200 a month plus, you're not accessing a new aspect of your audience by doing a $20 or $30 membership. What you're doing is you're giving people a reason to go for something cheaper.
Yeah.
And if you have that many people coming, hire coaches to work for you, right? And pay them 40%, 30% of what you're making, and scale that way. With your coaching model, you're going to take way more money. You're going to get way better quality customers. And then if you really want to have something that's passive, write an ebook and sell it for $20.
Right.
You know, package up your work. Like, don't promise something every month. Don't promise a service where you're going to attract a lower quality consumer that's going to demand a lot more for less money. That way, if people just want a program or people can't spend that much money, you have something for them. I really don't think that the membership model is right for most people. And you will not see many of them that last more than 3 or 4 months. A lot of people start them because they think that it sounds like a good idea. And it does sound like a good idea. But then once you get past your initial audience, you have to generate new customers. You start to see your numbers go down month after month after month as people cancel and refund a default. And you're not replacing them, and all of a sudden your churn starts to outpace your new lead generation, and then the community dies, and it's just a bad situation.
It sounds like a nightmare.
It's just a bad.
That went south like really fast.
It went dark.
And your business will too, so don't.
It got really dark really quick.
I go dark. No, because I say this from experience. I have made this mistake. I have done 3 membership programs on a big scale. I think I told all these stories in the previous episode.
Yes,
I did. I told it in a bit more detail, but like for anybody who hasn't listened to the previous one, I had a $5 a month, 1 webinar membership program. Then we did something called the Professional Trainer Society. Then we did a paid newsletter. We had over 1,000 members in each. The paid newsletter, we had 1,615 members at $40 a month before we started on day 1. None of them were good long-term plays. I don't have anything against continuity. I think high-end continuity is great. Low-end continuity is a nightmare.
Sheesh. I would never. Ever. Quite frankly, it made my stomach hurt and my butthole pucker a little bit. Kiddo, have you ever considered, sort of subscription? Really, like my entire gastrointestinal tract is in distress right now. Just listening to you talk about it. It was a horrible, horrible story. We are all dumber for having heard that story, sir. God bless you, and God bless everyone. I never want to do that. Gosh, have you ever considered that, Carol? Has that ever been on your radar?
No, never. And
Same.
the only thing that I've done that has been like low cost entry that actually worked for me was when I did the webinar for $7 a person.
Yep.
And I had tons of people sign up, and that gave me a lot of lead generation.
Yes.
But I was talking about a topic that was very specific to the pain points to that very specific market. So they were all over it.
Yes,
like,
I
sheesh.
That's a brilliant point that I think fits into here, where low-end product is very, very important. because now you're generating customers versus like a free ebook, right? Charging $7 or $10 or like, I write books, right? We don't make a lot of money off of my books. I wouldn't say that they're loss leaders. They're certainly profitable, but they're profitable because I have 11 of them. So we can stack them together, right? One book is very, very hard to make money on, but it's an unbelievable lead generation tool. And now you're generating customers who have spent money. And anybody who knows anything about consumerism knows that once somebody has spent some money with you, odds that they'll continue spending money with you go way up. Right. So if you can get that initial sale continuing to go on that path with that customer and help that customer, odds go way up. And the best way to get that initial sale is to have something really specific to that person. One of the reasons why I have so many different books is I decided after Ignite the Fire and the Pocketbook that every book that I was going to write was going to be very specific, following the heuristic, if this is you, then this is for you. Right? If you are looking to improve your habits as an online trainer, I know the book for you. It's literally the only book on that because it's such a ridiculous sub-niche of a niche of a niche to write a book for.
Right.
Sure.
If you are looking at starting your career as a personal trainer, I have a book for you. Right? And all of these books are lead generators.
And
They're
love
not
it
profit
because
systems.
I really love this, Jonathan, because you tackle directly the fear that so many trainers have about going too specific on their niche. Like there's a fear that you're going to narrow it down, that you're kind of like, losing on tons of customers. But the reality is you're actually speaking to the people that you need to speak to.
If you have two different markets,
so true.
Create two different $7 ebooks that specifically talk to each market in a really targeted way.
Yeah.
And put that out and see what happens. And then just have a good system of bringing those people then and introducing them to your coaching, maybe give them like a free trial with you, or as part of buying this ebook, you get to participate in the 7-day lose 3 pounds challenge or whatever it is. And then continue on that challenge. Or what we love is the free upon completion scholarships. We teach this model in the Online Trainer Academy. It's one of my favorites is this idea where you decrease the barrier of entry to somebody starting your program by saying, hey, this program, if you start it, is actually free upon completion. Basically, you pay me $200. It's a 28-day program. And then when you finish, as long as you complete the exercises or 75% of the exercises, I'll give you your $200 back. A week before they finish, you have a process to follow up with them that says, hey, you're doing awesome. Really, really happy with the results. Let's get on the phone, talk about what, moving forward, what you want to do. And on that phone call, you paint a picture for the next steps for them. And you offer to put that $200 forward to their next program. And I love that for so many reasons. One is, if you understand the psychology of loss aversion, basically the pain that we have when we own something and lose it is way stronger than the pain of something that's already lost or that we assume is already lost.
Right.
So this decreases the pain of them losing that initial money. Even though they haven't actually lost the money because it's deposit, it will be much easier for them. They've already been out the money for 3 weeks, right? Like it's out of their bank accounts, whatever it is. To say, oh, just push that forward onto the next program, your yes rate goes way up. It gives you an opportunity to get some initial successes with them. So you could follow up, after a $7 ebook to a free upon completion challenge for 28 days, and then move that into a 1 to a few or high ticket coaching.
That makes sense.
Just kind of take them along that journey. You can kind of plot them together that way. Anyway, Len, I've actually got another podcast in 10 minutes. So let's get into the other models really quick.
All right. So high ticket,
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
High ticket is generally a transformation program. It's not a monthly program. It's usually a transformation program. And the reason that you can charge higher amounts, which I'll talk about what those amounts are, but the reason why you can charge higher amounts is because you are really understanding your prospect's problem and you're proposing a solution or a transformation to that problem, usually within 60 to 90 days. And we usually do 12 weeks. Like Online Trainer Academy Level 2, we teach a high ticket model. And so I think a lot of trainers would do really well to have a high ticket offering because you just need way fewer people. The high ticket model basically says, okay, so-and-so, you're here. We're going to get there in 90 days. You're going to paint a picture of exactly what that is. And you're going to sell them on the result, which is much more powerful than selling them on the training. That's why you can command the higher prices. The better you can speak to the person, assuage their fears, the better you can paint a picture of where they're going to be, the better success rate you're going to have. A high ticket model is anywhere from 1 to 3,000 generally for 12 weeks. There are some people who charge more, like my buddy Dan Go, I think charges 5,000-6,000 for 12 weeks. He does well, but he's also been in this game for a decade. And also one of the things that, like, if you want to charge high amounts and work with affluent people, you've got to network and become a member of affluent communities. So how does he get his people? He works with founders, he works with entrepreneurs, and it's really, really smart. So what does he do? He joins all of the high-end business masterminds. And then he starts, you know, working with all of the people. Somebody who pays $10,000 or $15,000 for a mastermind is the same person who's going to spend $5,000 for fitness coaching. So you got to, if you want to charge affluent rates, you've got to go to places where people have already shown a propensity to pay for similar types of products. But generally, you know, 1 to 3,000, 1 to 4,000, it comes down to anywhere from sort of 300 to 800 a month, you know, 300 to 1,000 a month. And it's a high level service. It's a high level service where you're helping people transform. I like it a lot because it allows people to obviously make a lot more in a lot less time. And if you structure the program really well, you don't necessarily have to be there all the time. The reason why I hesitate, and we definitely don't teach it to brand new online trainers, is simply because you have to be good. You have to really deliver. The people who will pay a lot more, like, you've got to deliver a really good service to them. You can't be guessing, you can't be making it up, and you got to put in some reps like anything else before you're good at this thing. The other reason is it can break really easily. Generally, a sales cycle to convert somebody to be a high ticket client is a reasonably long, drawn out, involved sales cycle. There's usually 2 phone calls, basically like a 10-minute triage call and a 60-minute conversion call, some videos in between, some networking in between, and or beforehand to get them into it. And because you're only working with 5 or 6 people, maybe 10 people, I mean, maybe more, but odds are when you're starting, you're not going to be working with 30 people at a high ticket thing. Because you're only working with a few people, if you're working with 5 clients and 1 client leaves, that's 20% of your income. That's a serious hit. And it could take a while to replace that revenue because of the long sales cycle. So I like having the high ticket option once you get a little bit more experienced. We teach it to people in level 2 of the Online Trainer Academy, and we vet people very strongly for level 2. We don't let anybody in who isn't ready for it. And so I like the model, but you do have to look out for a couple things.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So let's fast forward to hybrid because okay. we get a lot of talk about hybrid just in OTA generally. Before, you know, you were preaching hybrid, I recall, way before the whole pandemic thing hit. It's sort of an insurable way to have both the best of both worlds.
I was teaching people how to be hybrid trainers in 2012.
Right.
Jonathan Goodman is the hipster. Right. He's the hipster.
I'm the grandfather. Training. I'm like, I told you to do this.
He was doing it before it was cool. Guys, just so you all know.
I'm like the old man on his porch in a rocking chair, waving his finger.
Get off his lawn already.
To kids to get off my lawn. Kids have like Apple Pods in their ears. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I told you over the radio. But yeah, I mean, look, hybrid is simple, man. Hybrid is super simple at its core. It allows a trainer to offer what a client needs, when they need it, how they need it.
Right.
And it's simply this. You have 2 methods that you charge people with. So every client that's on a hybrid pays a monthly fee for, call it a performance plan. That's your accountability, that's the programming, that's your support that they get. Generally, that's $100, $150 a month. They then pay their per session fee as if they were to see you in person. So if that client sees you 3 times a week in person, then they pay you for 3 sessions, the same as they pay you probably right now if you work in the gym. If that trainer sees you 1 time, then they pay 1 time. Now, the beautiful thing about this is it allows you to as the client progresses, a brand new client to the gym probably needs to see you more often. A client who's coming off rehab, a client who's preparing for a sport or a performance or something like that might need like a bulk of sessions in a very condensed period of time. Mm-hmm. And then that client will need less. Well, this allows you to do that. Like this idea is something that always grinded my gears. Something that always grinded my gears was when a client would come in and say, I just want a program.
Right.
And I'd always say to them, okay, go down the street to the gas station and buy a magazine. It would be way cheaper. It'd save both of us time. And some people literally did that. And that was great because that's what they needed. Other people bought into my training. Other people would say, oh, I can only afford 10 sessions. And I would say to them, okay, cool. Well, and so they say, I can only afford 10 sessions. So I want to train with you once a week for 10 weeks. And I say, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
You're just going to be spinning your wheels in between. What I'd like to do is do 3 sessions a week with you for the first 2 weeks, right? We need to set some momentum. We need to gauge recovery. I need to teach you a lot. I need to know you better so that I can program for you better. So fine, 10 sessions, totally cool. Let's do 3. So that's 6 for the first 2 weeks. And then we'll do once a week. Well, if I know now what I knew back, or if I knew back then what I know now, I would get them on a hybrid session. I would get them on a hybrid plan and then sell them sessions however they needed it, right? When they needed it. There might be times when they say, hey, I'd like to see a little bit more. I've got a bit of extra time this month. Great. So hybrid's great. What's interesting is this, I shouldn't say this with certainty because we don't have like real data on this. This is mostly observational, but of the over 30,000 people that we've helped build online training businesses, I would say a vast majority of them are online trainers with every single one of their clients living in the same city as them. And it's not to say that you don't have to be, right? But that's where people, and it's simply, online training is not, I'm going to train people in a different country, I'm going to train people in a different city, cross state lines, whatever it is. It can be that, but it doesn't have to be that, right? It's simply a more convenient way to offer a better service.
Exactly.
That's literally it. Mm-hmm. And so hybrid is perfect because hybrid allows you to work with, I had clients who would drive 45 minutes an hour with me and just train with me on Saturday mornings because that's the only time in their schedule that they could do it because they loved working with me so much. Well, great. It would allow me to take care of them better if I knew about online back in 2009, where they'd still come to see me on Saturday mornings. And then I'd give them a performance plan and monitor their workouts and get on the phone with them if they needed it, that type of thing, and still get paid for that in between. That's what hybrid is. It just allows you to build that model for people. It's great.
Love it.
That's beautiful. I mean, so much wisdom here today. I want to cut the crew neck out of my shirt and turn it into a V-neck right now. That's V-neck wisdom. One V-neck to rule them all, Jonathan.
One V-neck.
You're just amazing. Just an amazing human. So we got the rundown. I hope you guys out there got a great understanding of, these different models. None wrong necessarily, Jonathan, or right. They just exist in different conditions.
For different people, for different stages of your journey.
Yeah.
That's all it is. If you're working in a gym right now and you're over busy and you get pissed off because clients keep asking for just a workout or whatever it is, and you want to start to make the transition to online training, start with a hybrid model, right? Put it out there, test the waters, start with the 1 to a few. Don't think that you have to go to high ticket or else you're a failure. You might progress to high ticket, or to be honest, a lot of the people that we work with are ecstatic with the hybrid model. Mike Bider is a great example of that. He's doing something like $150,000 a year. He only does hybrid. He doesn't want to do high ticket. We tried to get him into OTA 2. He said no, because he doesn't want to do it. He's happy with what he's doing. He's offering a great service. He's making good money.
Love it.
Right? That's great, man. Yeah. I love that awareness. All the power to him. Like, he's not right for our program. So don't think that you have to do one. There's no one way.
There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. That's what they say.
No one way.
No one way.
So we're gonna wrap it up here. This is episode 11. Amber, you got anything that you need to add here? Jonathan's got to do another podcast. Don't waste his time, for God's sakes.
Let's just move along. You're good.
All right, thanks
Amber.
We got clearance from Amber. We're good to land this thing. Keto, always a pleasure, Keto. Your insight, enthusiasm, and effervescence. It's just a gift to every podcast episode, as are the personal, intimate details of your life. We couldn't go on without making fun of your life. Mr. Goodman, thank you so much. Great episode. I learned a lot today, and we're going to sign this thing off. We'll see you guys soon for episode 12 if it goes that far. We're day to day here.
I think we're doing this now.
Are we? Oh, so it's official?
It's a thing now?
It's a thing now.
It's a thing. Oh, wow.
We can post that right under Keto's relationship announcement to the Jedi Navy.
It's a thing now.
Double official. We'll see you guys next time on the Online Trainer Show. Jingle, jingle, jingle. This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.